Hey, good afternoon, scholars, and welcome to your Wednesday sixth grade Mr. Virtual Lit class. Today is going to be an extension for students to, if you didn't get your writing turned in yesterday, you got an extra to get it turned in today. If you turned it in yesterday, you should have gotten some feedback that you can use today to improve your grade. Let's take a look at our turn-in rates, and then I'm going to go into more details about the assignment. We saw a slight dip in turn-in rates. We're still over half the grades knocking out their work, so I'm not going to complain too much about that, especially on this video, because if you're watching this video, you're probably one of those 58%. But I do know that we can get that percentage up, and I know that team captains are really going to help motivate their team to finish their last 12 Angry Men assignment and finish it strong. Let's take a look at, that's great, list is not updated, that's from yesterday. Let's take a look at some exemplars though. Just in case you are kind of confused about, you could just use some extra guidance. Here are some great examples. Remember below the writing space, there is the exact checklist that's going to be used by your teachers to grade. My feedback today is the same as yesterday. Use this grading rubric literally as a checklist. So on a separate sheet of paper, check off book context, check thesis, check. Let me skip a line, go to my next paragraph, type up my assertion, check. Use that as you go through each of these grading components so that you know you've hit on everything. Again, the only way to get a 0 is if something's flat out missing. If you do an attempt at any of these components, you get the point. Okay. So let's take a look at some examples that might help you. Remember, when I show exemplars, guys, you're not to copy it word for word, but you can definitely model your writing off this. If your writing is really similar to the exemplars I give, that's kind of the point, right? That's why I'm showing you these exemplars. The point of the exemplars is so we get better at things when we copy people that are really good at it, right? So when I give you these exemplars, don't copy them word for word, but if your writing looks really similar to these because you're using them as an example, good. That's going to help you develop as a writer, and it's going to help you get a better grade. So let's take a look at two exemplars from the intro. Surprise, surprise, I'm using Israel and Elvia again. Huge shout outs to Israel and Elvia. Your parents are going to be getting a call from me this week because your work has just been so great um, throughout this whole online process. But to you other scholars, Israel is not Superman. Elvia is not Superwoman, Supergirl. I don't think there's Superwoman. They're just trying. So if we were in person, I would have all these different examples to use, but we're not. And some of you have just, you know, used this format to kind of bow out, and that's unfortunately a reflection of some immaturity on a lot of people's parts. But a lot of you have been really doing your best, and you've grown as writers and readers throughout this process, and it's really obvious. So let's take a look at Israel's intro. I color coded it because I wanted to make it really clear what they're doing. Yellow is context about the book. In two sentences, what is this book about? You're going to go book context, and then you go into your thesis, right? So Israel's context. Reginald Rose's play is about a young teenager accused of murdering and stabbing his father. 12 jurors are summoned to court to investigate Israel real quick. That should be a period after father because this is a brand new idea. 12 jurors are summoned to the court to investigate the case, confirm that the boy was not guilty because of multiple doubts about the case. Now Israel's going to get into his thesis. In his thesis, he's going to take a side, warning or celebration, and he's going to give his two assertions that he's going to show in his body paragraphs. 12 Angry Men is warning us about the failings the cases in the court are having. Oh, the failings the cases in the court are having because prejudice and racist thoughts are taking over cases, and unclear and false testimonies given during cases. And these types of cases are more common than we think, right? So I can tell that Israel took the side of warning. His first body paragraph is going to be about racist and prejudiced thinking. His second body paragraph is going to be about false or unclear testimonies. Let's take a look at Elvius. Here's your context. 12 Angry Men is about 12 jurors who have to decide if a boy is guilty or not guilty for killing his father. Most of the jurors are white, and they are going up against a Puerto Rican boy. There's her context about what the play is about. I think 12 Angry Men is a warning about the judicial system's failings because it shows how a boy's life was put in jeopardy because of a jury's racial beliefs and personal bias. That right there is going to, I know what her two body paragraphs are going to be about. All right. So use Israel and Elvi as examples as a guide as you put together your own intro paragraph. I want to really shout out Israel too, because his two reasons that he thinks the play is a warning are very different. He looks at the juries themselves being prejudiced and racist, but then he also looks at a completely different thing, which is witness testimony. So by using two totally different examples in his assertions, he's really proving why he thinks this is a warning overall. Let's take a look at Israel's body paragraph to give you another example that you can model your own writing off of. Your body paragraph, as always, goes, what's your assertion? What's your context to catch us up to speed? What's your evidence? And then after the evidence, your analysis. How does your evidence prove that point that you're trying to prove? I did Israel's assertion in red, and anytime he starts to give his own thoughts, I put that in green. That's his analysis. So Israel, this is his second body paragraph, I believe. Additionally, some jurors keep prejudice and racist thoughts of a certain race or person into the case. So there's his assertion, is that some jurors are racist. He added some of his extra thinking, which is why I put it in green, which shortens the chance of a fair case dramatically by changing the juror's vote based on someone's appearance or personality. So now he's going to give us some context about the jurors that he's focusing on. Even after some lawyers try to see if jurors bring prejudiced thoughts into the case, some jurors, like jurors 10 and 3, keep these ideas and decide to let these ideas decide the boy's fate or another's persecution. I should probably put that in green because that's kind of Israel's thinking. But here's his context. Here's his context about the quote he's going to give. When asked why he chose to say the boy was guilty, Juror 4 said, quote, "He was born in the slum. Slums are breeding grounds for criminals. I know it. So do you. It's no secret. Children from slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society." Israel, I recommend you shaving this in half. If you were going to pick, if you were to cut this evidence in half, which sentences would you keep? Because this is just a little bit too long. And also put page 26 in parentheses. Now we get into Israel's analysis of the quote that he just gave. In his analysis, he's going to use some of the same words that he's from his thesis and from his assertion to make sure he's proving his point. His thesis is that it's a warning, and his assertion of this paragraph are about racist thoughts and being prejudiced. So when he uses those words again, I'm going to put that in red just as a reminder to use the words from your thesis and your assertions to make sure you're proving your point. Which shows us that there are jurors like Juror 4, which let their thoughts decide whether someone is guilty or not, instead of using facts and evidence from the case. Oh, Israel, this is the 10th juror, guy. This is the 10th juror who said this stuff, okay? So make sure you fix that. Which shows us there are jurors like Juror 10 who let their thoughts decide whether someone is guilty or not instead of using the facts and evidence from the case. This evidence shows us that Rose made this play as a warning By showing us the juror can use their thoughts and prejudice to decide a person's fate, and this type of action makes the justice system less honest and mishandles the case. Good work, Israel. All right, guys. My feedback is just like yesterday's. Make sure that you're checking off each rubric item. I changed it a little bit, but it's use the rubric as a checklist to make sure that you're hitting on everything that you're supposed to hit on. I wrote check off feedback. Check off each rubric item as you go on your own sheet of paper. Don't write anything. Some of you, I think Raina was just giving herself her own scores. Don't do that. And then I think some of you were also proving that you included these by copying and pasting them below. You don't have to do that. But on a separate sheet of paper, just book context, thesis. Write these requirements out and then check them off as you write them up. You're going to get 2 really specific things that you can improve on for your revision from your first attempt. The place that you're going to write those is down here in the revision space. The things that you change in the second attempt, make sure you highlight them so that your teacher's eyes can go straight to them so that they can see the difference, okay? This is going to be an excellent way to improve your grade. Anybody who got 80% or higher on your first attempt, you are exempt from this assignment. If you got an 80 and you want to go for the A, do it, okay? You can still improve it. But if you got an A on your first attempt, you don't have to do this revision. But everybody else, this is a great opportunity to really improve as a writer, because don't forget, you chose to come to Vista College Prep because it was the best school to prepare you for great success in high school, which sets you up for great success in college, which sets you up for great success in life. Success does not come easy. You have to work at it. You work at it, you get feedback, and you improve. It's always a cycle of doing your best, getting coached, and then doing better. Doing your best, getting coached, and then doing even better. You have to give your best effort, and you have to pay attention to your teacher's feedback in order to get better, okay? Let's finish this strong. This is your last 12 Angry Men assignment. Go out with the bang. We will transition to some fun short stories starting tomorrow. I will see you then. Let's get those turn-in rates up, and I want to see way more A's and B's. All right, see you guys tomorrow.